What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another international roundup for the last time this international break until it rears its ugly head in a month's time once again. But we're quite a few games to get through. We're going to start off with 2 days ago where Croatia took on Armenia and it finished 1-0 to Croatia. Perisic playing 90 minutes of football once again out on that left wing. 5 shots, 2 on target, 1 out of his 3 dribbles completed, 5 key passes, 2 out of his 4 crosses, and 3 big chances created for Ivan Perisic on the day. No goal contributions though.
Yeah, I wasn't watching it, unfortunately, so I didn't even see the highlights of this one, but it didn't seem to, as you say, didn't get involved in the goal contributions. But it's been a fairly decent international break for Ivan Perisic. Had a good game, 2 assists in the first game, played another 90 minutes, so good for him to get some minutes in his legs.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next game was Wales went over to Latvia and beat them 2-0. Ben Davies, captain on the day, once again playing on the left of a back 3. 2 clearances, 1 tackles, 2 key passes, 3 out of his 6 long balls were accurate. 100% ground duels won, which was 3, and 5 of his 7 aerial duels won as well. 90 minutes played for Ben Davies. Joe Rodon as well played 90 minutes in the centre of a back 3. 4 clearances, 1 interception, 1 tackles. 4 out of his 5 long balls were accurate. 2 out of his 3 ground duels won, and 9 out of 9 aerial duels won for Joe Rodon. And Brennan Johnson played his as lone striker, 87 minutes on the pitch. 5 shots, only 1 on target. 3 out of his 4 dribble attempts were successful. 3 key passes, 1 big chances created, and 4 out of his 6 ground duels were won. So 3 Spurs players, 1 on loan, out on loan, obviously with Joe Rodon, but 3 Spurs players taking part in the Wales Mafia.
Yeah, I was watching a bit of this game, and Brennan Johnson was obviously quite involved in this game, having 5 shots and 3 key passes. What I like to see is him showing that bit more of a creative side when he's playing central striker, because I think that's been one of my biggest criticisms. When he plays centrally, he doesn't get involved enough in the general play. So good to see him doing that. Unfortunately, didn't get on the score sheet. I saw him have 1 opportunity down the right-hand side where he only had the keeper to beat. I think he dragged it wide. There was a Wales player in the centre who was unhappy, he didn't pass it. But look, I thought we had a solid performance. I thought Ben Davies played really well as well, actually, but I didn't really see much of Joe Rodon.
Next up is Dejan Kulusevski, who played 90 minutes for Sweden in a 3-1 loss at home to Austria. Albeit, though, I think Dejan Kulusevski did actually have a really good game once again, following on from his previous performance in the first game. He got 1 assist on the day, which came in the last minute as a consolation. 5 key passes, 2 out of his 2 long balls were accurate. 1 big chance created. 3 out of his 8 crosses were accurate. 3 out of his 4 dribbles were successful, and he won 8 of his 12 ground duels. And it was a fairly good assist towards the end, but I'm not sure if he actually meant it to go to that player.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw the highlights, and it was from the left-hand side, which is not a side you associate Kulusevski. He kind of did a drag back from the left-hand side, and it went behind one of the Sweden players, and it kind of fell to another Sweden player on the edge of the box who was able to stroke it home. It was a nice pass, but yeah, I think he probably meant it for the guy who went just behind. But it sounds like, again, he had another really strong performance following on. I thought he had a brilliant game in last week as well against Estonia when they won 5-0. He was really bright in that one. So I'm glad he's looking more confident, Kulusevski, because we need a confident Dejan.
Yeah, absolutely. And Manuel Solomon did play 90 minutes as Israel beat Belarus 1-0. A clutch goal coming in the last minute of stoppage time. I think it was the 93rd or 94th minute, in a really important victory for Israel here. 6 key passes from Manuel. 3 out of his 9 crosses were accurate. 1 out of his 2 long balls were accurate. He won only 2 of his 7 ground duels, and he completed 2 out of his 3 dribble attempts. So a fairly solid performance from Manuel.
Yeah, watching a bit of the highlights, he seemed definitely involved in a lot of the good things that Israel were doing, and he was trying to make things happen without really creating any amazing opportunities. But 6 key passes shows how involved he was, and we need that kind of level of involvement from him at a Spurs level, and he threatened that against Burnley, so let's hope he can do that on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and obviously Israel haven't qualified for a tournament in a long time. Obviously they're fighting against Romania to get that 2nd spot in the group, with Switzerland quite far ahead. They've got a good chance of qualifying for this, and it'll be nice to see Manor in an international tournament out in Germany if it does happen.
100%.
Next up is Argentina 3, Bolivia 0 out in Bolivia. Cuti Romero played 90 minutes, 2 clearances, 3 interceptions, 1 tackle, 1 of his 3 long balls successful, 3 out of the 3 ground duels won, 1 out of his 3 aerials won, and 1 dribble attempt successful out of the 1. And that was a really scary moment at the end of the first half, as Bolivia did go down to 10 men with an awful challenge, studs into his ankles, essentially, and his ankle just like turned round, and I thought he was going to go off at half time. It looked like a really bad one, but did end up completing the 90 minutes. I'm just hope that we don't get news today saying that, you know, he played and aggravated an injury and he's going to come back to Tottenham injured. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, but let's just hope it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all be a bit relieved that he carried on, because it looked really bad. It looked like one of those where he could have broken a bone, to be honest. It was that bad of a challenge. And I remember seeing it on Twitter, and I rushed to see, like, on a live score or something, if he's still playing, because if he'd been taken off, I'd been so worried. So I'm a bit relieved he stayed on, and hopefully that means he'll be fine for the weekend. But I mean, that challenge just had me had my heart in my mouth, and it's like, if we're that close to losing Romero for a very, very long time, just literally days after selling Sanchez and not having a backup centre-back. So scary moment for Spurs, but hopefully it looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah. It's like any time anything happens to any one of our centre-backs, it's just like heart drops, doesn't it? Next up is Peru 0, Brazil 1. Richarlison playing 64 minutes. He only had 11 touches in those 64 minutes. 1 out of his 2 aerial duels won. 2 offside goals from Richarlison in the first half as well. And there were some concerning quotes coming out from Richarlison after this game. And he says, this is after the 1-0 win. He says, on the field, I'm a happy team player. I try to get as much as possible. Some things don't go the way we want. I think this is part of a bit off the field and ended up getting in my way, or things off the field were getting in my way and going wrong. I will continue to focus on the club. The storm has passed now. I went through a turbulent time in the past 5 months off the field. Now things are right at home. People who only had an eye on my money walked away from me. Now things will start to flow. I'm sure I'll get a good run at Tottenham and make things happen again. The sad moment wasn't even because I played poorly. In my opinion, I didn't play a bad game in Belém, which is in Peru. It was more of an outburst about things that were happening off the field, which got out of control, not on my part, but on the part of people who were close to me. I'm going back to England to seek psychological help from a psychologist to work on my mind. That is, and that's it. I'll come back stronger. I believe I'll be in the next squad. I will work for that. And it's about getting a good streak at Tottenham. This week, I'm going to sit down and talk to them. I need a good streak to get the rhythm back, and I will get there. So there are quite concerning kind of quotes there from Richarlison saying he is struggling and needs psychological help. And the quotes that he was talking about when I said bad game in Belém wasn't about this game. It was about the game prior to that, where you saw him crying on the side of the pitch against Bolivia. Exactly. So look, I think it is concerning, but I guess the fans have just got to kind of support him through this.
I don't think they're concerning. I'm actually really happy that he's said this, because I think he's acknowledging the problem, and he's acknowledging there is something wrong, and it's not, and that he needs help, and that he needs support. And I'm happy he's come out and he said that. For me, actually, instead of burying his head in the sand and ignoring the issue, he's coming out and he's facing it and he's confronting it and he's acknowledging it. And that's all you can do when you have a problem like that. And I'm really happy, and I'm all for that, and I'm supporting him 100%. And I'm really hoping that he gets the support he needs and he gets back to his best for Tottenham and everything ends really well. The concerning part would be the stuff that he's talking about in his private life, because that's obviously something that can't be controlled within the football club, and when if someone's going through something like that, must be very difficult for him. So I feel for him, and I hope that issue can be resolved. But when it comes to him saying he's struggling on the mental side, obviously you don't want to hear that. It's not a nice thing to hear, but I'm really happy that he's being honest and open about it, and that he's going to seek help, because that's all you can do in that situation, and that's the right thing for him to do. So big up to Richarlison. I commend him for that.
Yeah, but like obviously it's a good thing to come out and be open about it, but I mean, it has to be concerning for any Tottenham fan, to be honest, or anyone that's a supporter of Richarlison, or any human being just thinking about Richarlison. These things that are happening in his personal life, him having to go and seek psychological help, it's a massive concern. I just think it's a good thing that it is out in the open, and he's open to getting help about it.
Yeah, look, and I feel for him. I don't even think, in terms of, it's not even a mystery that he's struggling mentally. I think we can all see it, and it wasn't just his body language in that Brazil game. We've seen it for Tottenham as well, so it was no secret. But I'm glad he's acknowledged it, and I'm glad he's come out and he's confronting the issue. That's all you can do in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So we all wish Richarlison the best, and I'm sure this weekend at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the songs for Richarlison will be louder than ever. But let's talk about South Korea as they beat Saudi Arabia 1-0 at St James's Park. Heung-min Son playing 90 minutes, going off in stoppage time. He had 2 shots on target, 7 key passes, 4 out of his 5 crosses were accurate, 100% long ball accuracy as well, and 2 big chances created. So really strong numbers for Heung-min Son against Saudi Arabia. But there was one strange moment in, I think it was the first half. He gets completely hacked down. 100% penalty, and the ref just waves it on. I don't know how that was not a penalty.
Yeah, I've seen the replay of it. Completely, like, there's not even like a bit of contact. He just gets taken out, like, inside the box. He's in on goal as well, so he probably would have scored if he doesn't get taken out. And the referee just doesn't even move one bit. And I thought that was a bizarre decision, absolute bizarre. And you saw Son was just perplexed. He was like, obviously that's a penalty, and it was ridiculous.
But nowhere near the ball.
It's madness, and he completely takes out his foot. In terms of stats, though, again, Son showing more of his creative side. 7 key passes, 4 of his 5 crosses accurate. So that's really good to see as well. And if he is ever to play more minutes on the left-hand side, he's going to need that creative side to his game. So I'm glad that he's starting to show that a bit more.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what position he played in this game. Was it out on the left?
I don't know, but either way, it doesn't matter for whether he's playing. He's still going to need that creative side if he's going to play on the left.
To see where he actually played. Let me just check that for 1 second. Here, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, he actually played up front in a front 2. Which is interesting. So anyway, they won 1-0 in so not far to travel at St James's Park. So happy days for that. Senegal lost to Algeria 1-0 in a friendly. Pape Matar Sarr just playing 70 minutes. I mean, I saw none of the game, and the app doesn't show any particular stats on there either, so not much to say about
70 or 17?
70.
70. Okay, so you got a good run out. I'm glad about that. Obviously, he's been it's interesting. I remember when he came on for Senegal at the World Cup, he was taking a lot of their set pieces. So I wonder if he was still on that duty. But yeah, I got not too much to say about that, except for the fact that it's good for him to get some more minutes for his country.
I was reading an article from his midfield partner in Senegal, Idrissa Gueye, and he was saying, he was just literally just waxing lyrical about Pape Matar Sarr, basically calling him the future of Senegal, basically.
Love that. I love to hear that.
Ivory Coast against Mali got called off at half-time. Yves Bissouma did start the game and played 45 minutes, but it got called off from adverse weather conditions, and the pitch was massively flooded. So happy days that it did get called off at half-time, because that could have risked injury. And I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at Bissouma, right? He came on for the last 20 minutes in the first game, played 45 minutes in this game. He travelled out to the pre-season tour. I don't think he had 1 minute on the pre-season tour because he was injured or something was going on with him in the pre-season tour. And obviously that game got called off as well on the pre-season. So I was like, how many miles has he travelled with the least amount of minutes ever? I mean, what is going on there?
Yeah, I know. Wait, he didn't play at all for Tottenham in the pre-season tour?
I don't think so, because he had that long COVID, didn't he?
Are you talking about last year?
No, this year.
No, he played. He played against West Ham.
Barcelona.
West Ham he played, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe West Ham was the only game he played.
I'm pretty sure he played against West Ham. But yeah, he had done a lot of travelling, hasn't he? But look, that assist was worth it during the international break, just for that little bit. So I'm glad he got that in it for his YouTube highlights reel, and he's going to come back fit and firing for Spurs. That's all I care about.
Next up, England 3, Scotland 1 at Hampden Park. Maddison was an unused sub, obviously, so he didn't come on. But I thought it was a brilliant performance from England, following up, answering questions from that first game against Ukraine, where it was a bit of a poor display. Jude Bellingham was just absolutely sensational on the day, man of the match by a long way. And Harry Kane got on the score sheet again.
Yeah, great goal. Also, no minutes for Maddison. That's the important thing. So he played 60 minutes in the first game, and then had a game off in this one. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to need him for the games coming up. But yeah, look, Harry Kane's still central to everything. Maguire comes on and scores an own goal. So not a great moment for him.
He's just becoming a meme of himself.
Yeah, but Southgate was saying how, you know, he's an England player, and England fans shouldn't be making fun of him and you know, allowing the Scotland fans to get on his back and like joining in essentially with Scotland fans and making fun of Maguire. And part of me agrees with him. I know Maguire is not doing well in the Premier League right now, but he's always done a good job for England. I don't really have any complaints from him for England. So why England fans are getting on his back is a bit perplexing to me. I know you could argue he's not, like, does he deserve to be playing for England right now considering his form for United? And that's a fair point, but I don't know. I don't like England fans kind of clowning on their own player, especially when he's done well for England. I
agree. I mean, I'm looking at it, and like in every international tournament that England have gone far in, he's been central to, and he's been playing really well at centre back, and he's never really let England down ever, to be honest. I mean, all this bad form and all this mockery of him all comes from his club form and his club, what he's been doing with Manchester United. So yeah, it didn't really sit right with me, the abuse that Harry Maguire was getting yesterday. Yes, he scored an own goal, and it was a pretty bad one at that, but at the end of the day, England won the game. They won it quite comfortably, and every time Harry Maguire, apart from maybe yesterday with that own goal, he stood up for the team and stood up quite well. So I think people are just taking this a bit too far, to be honest.
100%.
And last but not least, Italy 2, Ukraine 1, and our goalkeeper Vicario was an unused substitute in this game. So that brings an end to the international roundup. That brings an end to international break, and I think everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. I think I just want to get confirmed that COYS Romero is completely fine, and Heung-min Son as well. His knee was strapped up before this game, but he did end up playing 90 minutes, so hopefully it's nothing to worry about. But there are concerns about COYS Romero. Let's hope that no negative news comes out about that over the next couple of days. But that is your international roundup. Let me know what you thought of our players out on international duty in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always,
come on you Spurs.